Japanese natural philosophy. That's something I'm going to talk about today, so stick around. Hi, my name is Sachiaki Takamiya. I am the author of the Ikigai diet and the founder of this diet. Now, in the last video, at the end of the last video, I mentioned that the Japanese natural food movement was influenced by Japanese natural philosophy. So what is Japanese natural philosophy? That's something I'm going to talk about today. If you're reading my blog, which is the ikigaidiet.com, you might remember that I have a bodywork session once every 2 months by Dr. Hirai. Yeah, and also this is Mr. Hoshiko, who came to our house about 3 or 4 years ago, and he gave a bodywork workshop. Yeah, so both of them practice what we call Japanese healing art, right? And Japanese healing art is based on Japanese natural philosophy. Healing art is one area that is based on Japanese natural philosophy, but also there are many other areas like martial arts, Aikido, Karate, and Judo, and diets such as the macrobiotic diet and Zen Shojin diet, and the spirituality. For example, Shugendo, and that is a kind of a sect of Buddhism, but the practitioner of Shugendo train up in the mountains, yeah, and they are very much based on Japanese natural philosophy, right? And the Japanese natural philosophy is influenced by Chinese natural philosophy, such as what we call Shinsen Shiso, which in Chinese, I think Shenxian Thought and Taoism. Okay, so Shenxian Thought is the ancient Chinese philosophy or spiritual practice. Yeah, they trained up in the mountain to become immortal. So immortality was one big theme of this philosophy. And Taoism is another ancient Chinese philosophy, and that is the base of acupuncture and Tai Chi and Qigong and all Chinese martial arts, right? And Taoism is famous for yin and yang. This is the concept of the opposite quality in nature, such as night and day, winter and summer, hot, cold and hot, and female and male, and so on. And the idea of yin and yang is to keep balance. Yeah, do not become extreme, but to be in balance between the two qualities, right? So yin and yang is a very important element in the Japanese natural philosophy. And in the macrobiotic diet, for example, they divide all food according to yin and yang. Yeah, and another important element in the Japanese natural philosophy is ki energy. It is pronounced as ki in Japanese and pronounced as chi in Chinese, right? Aikido's ki is this ki, yeah, and they use ki energy in their martial art, right? And Tai Chi's chi is this chi, and they use chi energy in their martial art. The same with Qigong and Qigong, yeah, and they are the same thing, just whether you're using Japanese pronunciation or Chinese pronunciation. By the way, in Japanese, we say Kiko, yeah, so Qigong is still Chinese, but we say Kiko in Japanese, right? Now, the Japanese natural philosophy, when we talk about Japanese natural philosophy, it all comes down to nature and the mountains. Yeah, the whole concept was born out of nature because people are trained in the mountains. In Shenxian Thought, yeah, they train up in the mountains, and the same with Shugendo practitioners. They train in the mountain. So this is Takigyo, kind of a sit under the waterfall, is one Shugendo practice, but the practitioner of Shugendo stayed in the mountain most of the time, right? So the nature is the main source of the Japanese and Chinese natural philosophy. Therefore, today, we don't necessarily train in the mountains like they did in the past, but the concept of the natural life is still part of our culture. And one interpretation of this concept in modern life is the concept called Shindo Fuji. You might remember it from my book because I wrote about it in the Ikigai diet. Now, so Shindo Fuji means eating locally and seasonally. Yeah, so eat locally grown vegetables and rice and eat vegetables in season. And Shindo Fuji actually means, Shin means body and Do is soil, and Fu means not, and Ji means two. So body and soil are not two, meaning they are one. So body and soil are as one. That's what Shindo Fuji means. Therefore, because your body is connected to the soil, you want to eat locally grown vegetables, which are grown with the local soil and local bacteria. Yeah, the local bacteria is more suitable to your body, and it is more suitable to your gut microbiomes. Right. And also it means your body is not separate with the earth, with the mother earth and the natural kingdom. So you are part of nature. And therefore, we have the old calendar, which was a lunar calendar. We still use it now, but especially in the past, we were always using this old type calendar. And there are so many seasonal events. Yeah, we celebrate the beginning of the spring or the beginning of summer, beginning of autumn, beginning of winter, and so on. And everything is tied with the season and nature. Yeah, and that is why I often climb up mountains or visit power spot, yeah, on days of equinoxes and solstices. And that is why I celebrate the full moon. In fact, it is a Japanese custom. We have something called otsukimi on the day of full moon. We just sit outside and, look at the moon and, eat some snacks and so on. So everything is tied with the celestial movement and natural movement. Yes. And the other thing is, if you work in the garden, you become aware of the seasons. Yeah, you become aware of the season and natural kingdom in many ways, because you look at the weeds and how the weeds grow, how your plants grow, and insects and the heat and cold and the sunshine, or how they are influenced by the rain and so on. So you become aware of the natural kingdom, and it is a great way to be in tune with the nature. Yeah. So if we want to practice Shindo Fuji, the best way is to do some gardening. Okay, so in many ways, Japanese culture is influenced by this Japanese natural philosophy, and Shizenha people who lead the Satoyama lifestyles are influenced by Japanese natural philosophy too, right? Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Again, my name is Sachiaki Takamiya, the author of the Ikigai Diet. If you want to know more about how you can eat according to the season and according to the nature, how to exercise to in tune with natural kingdom and everything, please read the book. And if you like this video, please give me your thumb up and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Live with your Ikigai.